Hey, salute to everybody joining me today. What I wanted to talk about really is what I'm seeing right now in 2026 is the evidence of the decline in men's participation in the dating and relationship market globally. This is a global situation, a global issue, a global epidemic. And one of the reasons why is because many people in society will fail to accept the reality is that for many men, the return on investment for getting married, getting into long-term relationships with many of today's women, the juice is just not worth the squeeze because the relationship doesn't offer men any of the value that they would have gotten 100 years ago, maybe even less. So it becomes a situation of pure sacrifice. And even with social media, delusion, and all of the things, visions of grandeur, complete and utter narcissism, and a female centered society, a lot of men have just walked away. And you can't shame them because it's one thing to shame. See, we always talk about, me and the coach clinician, we talk about needs drives behavior. But at a point where many, even the jellyback simps, are seeing that there's absolutely nothing at the end of the rainbow, not even a pat on the head, not even words of encouragement, just purely exploitation. And we see all the gold digging content, the sprinkle content, teaching women how to secure themselves a sponsor for the rest of their life. But there's nothing in the conversation about what men are supposed to be getting out of a relationship, how men are supposed to be treated, what men are supposed to be received from relationships. And with social media creating so much delusion and so much narcissism out here on a global scale, a lot of smart men are like, you know what? They're not showing up at dating events. They're not trying to marry women. They're not trying to date women. We've seen population decline with feminism, the rise in feminism. South Korea's population's declined. The men have completely checked out. China is on the brinks. In the cities and places like Beijing, the men, even though men have a larger population, they're not even dating these women. You know, even the China guys have become like passport bros. They're looking for women elsewhere. China. And that's in the Far East. So that tells you the effects of social media and how it's created a world of delusion. But I want to make this topic. Have modern women finally discouraged even the simps from dating and relationship? Even the simps. What's going on, XL Pro? Salute to you, my brother. First in the chat. Guys, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to support this channel, please do. And we're going to get into this topic. Have even the jellyback simps checked out of the equation? Have they had enough? I mean, there's only so much you can torture men before they give up and say, no, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. And women make no shame about the gold digging now. I mean, the sprinkle lady is teaching classes on how to extract that value from men. And they're teaching it in other cultures how to extract value from men. I mean, there are no shame in the gold digging situation. And even when I made the video about the women from Ghana, and I explicitly said, these are not victims, they're hunters. They're hunting for that gold, baby. I'm sure they listen to that sprinkle content. But before then, we actually have to get into the evidence of the checking out. We saw the situation in New York where women are paying $100 to go to a dating event. And the men they're asking, and men are still outnumbered 3-1, and men are getting it for free. So what you see on the internet, when you see a lot of women talking about what they deserve, they're really gaslighting value. They're hoping to fish for a simp, but the simp pond is going dry. And simp conservation efforts, shaming conservation won't work. The pond of simps is going dry. When you see men not showing up to dating events, and now recently, men not buying alcohol. They're overfished. They're overfished the simp pond. There's nothing out here. Standards too high, delusions or visions of grandeur is going crazy. Even China, other places all around the world, they have fished the simp pond dry. the Series 7s, the low frequency women, the chicken heads on the internet gaslighting value, old women pretending like they're 25 years old, talking about men should pay 100% of the bills, rebranded women going back to the church, fake celibacy movements. You go down the list. Dudes ain't going for the pump fake no more. And if the dude would go for the pump fake, he's so hideous that women don't even want him. Women can't even consume. The dude that will take the pump fake, he's so undesirable that they don't even want him. You can't even get a good Boyce Watkins type simp no more. The standards, it's going down bad. It's down bad out here. Inflation is here. Government, all of the government programs is being canceled. The handouts is going bad. It's a tough market. It's a tough environment out here. The jellybacks of, well, men have finally watched content from guys like me, encouraging them that what they seek and what they desire with all their hearts have been overvalued. You're basically using another man's mouthwash. That pre-owned that you seek and desire so much is going to end up with you having post-nut clarity depression. You're going to sit at the end of that bed in sadness as you sit over there, as that empty vessel who you've just drained your poison in is now playing on her TikTok account. You know, she's on her TikTok right now. You've just pounded her, and she has nothing to offer you other than Instagram and TikTok reels. Her whole brain is warped. Useless vessel. She can't cook. She can't clean. She probably doesn't even know how to take care of her kids because her grandmother and them did all that work and didn't even let her teach her to cook. So you got an empty vessel, useless. What's going on, man? Burning Coal 5705. Welcome to the chat. We're going to get into it. And I think the simple economy has collapsed. What are they going to do with higher inflation? Now they're actually coming out saying that living alone is more expensive. Now 50-50 is not available because them dudes rather live in their father's basement or their mother's basement than to shack up with one of these women. Dudes don't want to shack up with these women. They'd rather live in, they live in your basement. I have a basement here. It's open door policy for the boys. Just, show some respect to the house. Keep it clean, keep it respectful. They'd rather live in the basement of their parents' house than to shack up with some modern woman. They're not doing it. They're just not doing it. And that's what we see now. So the simps are drying up. Remember, it's not just a simp. It's a simp that they can show off to their friends and say, look at this jellyback I just caught. This jellyback I just caught. He ain't a looker, but he got a good pension, got good benefit. He own a house. Girl, he's still good. They don't even have that no more. That jellyback is running off to Thailand, up in the mountains, chasing Thailand 304s. Or he's in damn Colombia somewhere. Or he's hiding, or he's gone to tricking. Or he's turned into Uncle Earl. It's dry out here, man. And the guy that's going to be he's so hideous that the women can't consume. They'd rather be single for the rest of their life than to go with a certain type of jellyback. He's just gotten too bad. So these are things that are serious problems out here in society. And I don't think there's no cure until women become better. They become better people. They actually give men what they want. Maybe they should stay off TikTok a little bit. Become better people with better character. In the community, lose some weight. Lose the bad attitude, the stinky attitude, the disrespectful attitude. Give up on feminism. Show men some respect. Actually be able to skilled and craft at doing something that puts a smile on a man's face. So when he comes home from work every day, he feels like he's getting something out of the deal. Period. And we're going to get right into the content of it. What's up, Mr. 070, salute. We, got to get into it. Because what happens is inevitably, men respond to incentives. And what if what's incentive it is to take on one of today's modern women? You're taking on a load. She has no skills. She has nothing that's going to add value other than pre-owned box, which you can get from a streetwalker. It's valuable to her, but is it valuable to you? Absolutely not. So let's go into this content. So the evidence of this, you can be seen in the liquor market. Salute to Marin for this because he put it out there. The article is there, but I'm gonna let him run. Salute to him with Fresh and Fit. Well, Marin Gaines. They don't like him, but it is what it is. He has not changed. He's been consistent.
Alcohol is in decline. Alcohol is in rapid, permanent decline, they're saying.
Yes.
There's just a lot of people out there who just don't want to drink alcohol anymore. It's very detrimental to your health, to your decision-making, obviously.
And notice how Mike is not addressing the real problem. He's doing everything but like addressing the real problem. Like he's not telling you why guys don't want to go to the club anymore. He's not telling you why guys are drinking less. He's not telling you why dudes aren't interested with dealing with this bullshit. The reason why alcohol consumption is down is because are insufferable, bro. That's why, man. The cost of pursuing women within the confinements of nightlife no longer is worth it. That is why. And young men nowadays are equipped with the knowledge to justify that decision, and they're aware that nightlife is a scam 99% of the time. So let's kind of build on this shit. A couple of days ago, I saw this breaking out all over the news, and it said here the alcohol industry has lost $830 billion in 4 years because Gen Z is not drinking. Okay, so this is something that I, predicted would happen, right? And it's already occurring. So it goes here, and I commented, I said, guys are waking up that drinking is only to get women. However, since most women are insufferable, they don't want to waste their time, money, health, and energy in the pursuit of women like millennials did, right? So Gen Zers are bored, because I would be considered a millennial. Anyone born in like the 80s or 90s is considered a millennial. Gen Z are guys born in 1997 onward, right? 1997 to 2012. So basically the generation after me, like my brother's generation. This generation benefits from the red pill way more than my generation did. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have YouTube, right? Like it wasn't until we became adults that the internet was like a ubiquitous thing. Does that make sense, chat? But now these young people can go on the internet, get on YouTube and handle any of their problem, right? A lot of people forget that YouTube is almost like a do-it-yourself app. The reason why YouTube is so popular is because a normie can open up YouTube and find out how to change a tire, right? How to, switch a light bulb, whatever. Then it morphed into like a more entertainment streaming platform. But people always forget that YouTube was like one of the original bastions in helping people with getting things done. And one of the problems that guys would use YouTube for was, how do I get girls, right? And as guys started putting, how do I get girls? Now, all of a sudden, Fresh Fit pops up. Now, Rollo Tomasi pops up. Now, Andrew Tate pops up, right? Now, other people in this side of the internet pop up. MGTOW starts to pop up, right? I know I haven't talked about MGTOW in a very long time. For those of you that are unaware, MGTOW is like kind of a movement within the red pill, right? Called men going their own way. Now, I remember that people used to scoff at this concept when MGTOW people would say, oh yeah, men are going their own way, blah, blah, blah. And they used to say, what the hell, bro? What is that? That sounds like some incel bullshit. Ha, ha, ha. Well, look, it's happening. It's happening right now because, the decrease in alcohol consumption isn't because, dudes are like, want to get super healthy. That might be a part of it. But the real reason is that
we're talking about, I think, $832 million, gentlemen. Is that correct? 832 million decrease in alcohol sales. But it's not just that. It's the dating apps that are down. The dating apps are crashing. Remember the one guy with Hinge? He created this female profile. And she got like 1,600 likes, guys all in that go, like it's crazy, man. It just showed the imbalance in the dating and relationship market because a lot of women get on these sites and even get online because they're fishing for validation. In their mind, there's a picture of a man that they want to be with. Maybe it's the guy they gave their box to in college, the guy that's on the basketball team or whatever else. And he pounded them, and their standard is set at this, or maybe they're Pookie lover or whatever else, but they have this vision in their head for a man that they want. The alternative to that is they get old, and after they've accumulated too many bodies, they either go back to the church and rebrand, use the Christian backdoor, and try and manipulate that scammer shit and try and get a simp that way through the church, or what they'll do is try and fish in the dating apps online, looking for a simp that's palatable enough that's going to pay their bills. They got all the sausage in the world. They want money to pay their bills. So if he's higher status enough and he's a simp, it's worth the sacrifice, but he has to pay 100% of the bills. You notice these women, they talk about provider man, and they'll even use the Bible to tell you what a man's supposed to be. But when you turn that around, if you want 100% of the bills, that doesn't mean you're going to be a virgin. That means you're going to be a virtuous woman. You're going to be a Proverbs 31 woman. You're going to be like Ruth. And then all of a sudden you're a misogynist. You hate women. Or you're insecure. Because they want you to hold these traditional values, because in their mind, they're more valuable than you. The internet tells them that. The culture has told them that for so many years. But now you caught the red pill. Now you have men's content. Now you have guys like me telling them, hey, hold on here. You're paying too much for pre-owned. You're getting another man's mouthwash. He used it, he spit it back in the bottle, and now you got to drink it. You don't have to pay MSRP for that. 100% provider is MSRP. Is she a virgin? Well, why is she charging you those prices? You're not a virgin. You're not charging her virgin prices. So why is she charging you virgin prices? 100% providers, virgin prices. And they got jobs. Women work. This is 2026. Aren't you supposed to build a life together? Unless you want to be just an income slave. She take her money and keep it. And then you have these jellybacks that come online that's not up to date with the game. We're talking about a modern woman feminist that wants to talk about partner. She wants to talk about partner. She used the bird fingers, keep talking to you with the bird fingers, lecturing you, talking about partner. That's not a traditional woman. And then you have these old women. They can't birth no more kids. They're having hot flashes in the middle of the night. Like Lisa Ray. An old woman like that back in the day, those are the women in other cultures that take care of the grandkids and feed the baby goats that have been abandoned by their mother. They're not for breeding and having sex. Having sex with Lisa Ray should be a crime. Any woman that's that old, you having sex with her should be a crime, unless it's her husband that's been with her for 40 years. Never mind. That's a whole different thing, man. It's just the way it is, man. It is what it is. What's up? Hey, XL, you said 14 months? And my boy said, well, this is okay to admit you're not cut off this anti-human system. Start fighting and accept homelessness. Not gonna happen. Damn that. They ain't never gonna happen. Let's continue on. Salute.
Drinking alcohol for you as a man, a lot of times is going to be intimately tied to the pursuit of females. And since most women don't want most men, and most guys struggle on the sexual marketplace, why are dudes going to be spending their time and energy and effort going to the club and just keep getting curved? And then on top of that, they're on YouTube and they're listening to niggas like us saying, yo, there's no point to go to the nightclub. Get your shit together. There's no point, right? So on one end, you have people like myself saying, yo, this is how women are. Get your sexual market value up before you even bother going to a club. Then on top of that, like I'm telling you this on YouTube. And then on top of that, what I'm telling you is being affirmed by your life experiences. Let me give you guys an example.
They don't even have to get their sexual market value up. What these women are doing is the equivalent of prostitution and streetwalker shit. This is why I disagree with some of the red pill guys. If you have to be 5 times better than an average ran through broad to get access to her, that's just saying that she's some superiority to you. What she's offering you is the equivalent of what's worth $60. Average people are supposed to get together and build a life. The guy making $50,000, the woman making $50,000, bring it together $100,000. Invest in the market, practice financial discipline. Don't let these guys believe you have to be riding around here in some Lamborghini or Bentley. The guys that she had sex with was on SSI back in the day. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Average people need to give it other average people. We can't focus life on the 10%, the 5%, the 1%. Most people are not making that kind of money. Look at the statistics. Look at the Pew Research. So we can't focus on the 10% of women and men or the 10% of men. Everybody else, average people, need to get together and lose the ego. Lose the ego. A woman making 50,000 should get with a man making whatever. Lose the ego. You know, he said that's not red pill. Those are the dating roaches tried to vanquish, but they tried to infiltrate rape. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, get at it, man. Look, don't let these guys make you think you gotta have to make 6 figures to get women to cooperate with you. They'll cooperate with you or they'll kick rocks. That's just really that simple. Either they cooperate with you or kick rocks. Because if money was the solution, Tom Brady and Will Smith and Emmitt Smith and Kevin Durant and Kevin Costner and all these dudes. The problem is jellyback simp activity and pedestalizing women. That's the problem. Because being a man is more than just money. You better have some discipline, some mental strength, some toughness, some courage. The courage to tell women to kick rocks. So it's deeper than that because we see so many simp dudes getting played with money. Many dudes that got money, they don't got no spinal cord. So if you have money and your masculinity is weak, you're just going to be another jellyback getting played. So it's a deeper masculinity is a total spectrum of human development. Money is one aspect of your achievement and the measure of your success. But you better be a complete man. You know, start focusing on the 10%. I'm okay with most of the things these guys say, but you'll be a fool to think you have to be running up around here for what? Worn out used box? Now you've pedestalized box. Now you're a jellyback. Only simp men think that they have to make $250,000 to date some broke ass bitch making $40,000 or to get her to cooperate. There's dudes making 60 grand and their woman making 40 grand, and they'll tell her to go shut up and go sit down somewhere because they have masculinity. They're not bitch ass dudes. They're not weak dudes. So don't let these red pill guys that only got women because they got money. Some of them. The only reason why they got women is because they got money. Don't listen to that bullshit, young men. Be secure in your masculinity. Be a man. In fact, I'm more impressed by men's skills and talents and competency. I was watching the show on YouTube the other day. Dude changed the damn head gasket in the parking lot of a, what's the parts called? What's the parts store called? But that's impressive to me. Not some dude who gets pre-owned box because of money. That, AutoZone, an AutoZone parking lot. Now that's impressive to me. Not some dude, I get used box. Box is only worth $60 on a good day. Maybe be cheaper. Anyhow, let's move right along. Sorry, gentlemen, I didn't want to stop on that, but take your mind off the 10%. Red pill guys need to stop talking about the 10% of men. We only talk about the 10% of men. Focus on the 90% of men and women. That's what we need to focus on, the 90% of men and women. Average people need to give it average people and save themselves from financial ruin. Well, the men are going to save themselves because men are low cost and smart and resourceful. The women that have these high spending habits, they're the ones that's going to have the problem. But we need to get rid of all that crazy talk. Let's move on. Salute.
To really draw this. Right? In an imaginary world, let's say you're a blue pill normie, right? You're 20 years old, 5-6 years ago. You're just fresh out of high school. You got your high school sweetheart. Things are going well. But after you guys graduate high school, she goes off to college. You beg her not to. You want to go with her, but you didn't get accepted to the school. You try to find a way to move with her over there. And through much pain and tribulation, you're unable to do it, right? She comes back for her first winter break, and you notice that she's distant. She isn't as into you as before. Now, all of a sudden, when you say, hey, I want to come visit you on campus, she has excuses. Now she has a new group of friends. And before you know it, you're getting hit with the... She breaks up with you. There's a girl that you spent the last 3 or 4 years with, and she breaks up with you. You don't know what to do. You don't know what's going on. You feel like the world's going to end. You talk with your buddies. They're like, don't worry about it, man. We're going to go out. We'll figure this shit out. Okay. You reluctantly agree. You go with them to the nightclub. You're approaching girls left and right, trying to hit on them, introduce yourself, and you notice a cold shoulder. None of them really engage with you in conversation. They look up at you for a second, they go back to their phone. As you try to start conversation with multiple women, they're getting pulled by their beluga whale friend. They're getting pulled into sections. You talk to 30 girls, strike out with every single one. You get 2 or 3 numbers, but you strike out with every other girl. You wake up the next day, groggy as feel like shit. You text those girls that you contacted, no response. You go hit up another girl that you went to high school with. Hey, I'm single now. You want to hang out? Oh, yeah, sure. You guys plan a date? She flakes. So within the span of a few weeks, you lose your girl, you strike out horribly at the nightclub, a girl that you thought you might have been able to court or get with flakes on you and doesn't even show up. Frustrated, you take to YouTube and type in, how do I get girls? You find me. And not only do I explain why a girl would break up with you when she goes off to college, I also explain how nightclubs are a waste of time. And unless you got a section or you have your shit together or whatever, you're a Chad, you're going to have a very difficult time. I talk about hypergamy. I talk about women. It's at that moment that everything clicks. Oh, shit. Does this nigga know me? What's going on here? He just connected the dots about why I have all these problems with females. I've always thought this, but I couldn't say it. Holy shit, I'm not alone. You get addicted. You watch more of our shows. You tune after hours, see female nature there. You see our breakdowns of cultural events where women display horrible behavior, and then you become a supporter of the movement, right? But let's, kind of peel this back. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. I'm unapologetically describing, to some degree, your experience. That is why people watch this shit. This is why people care about what I got to say. Because I'm telling you guys stuff or preparing you guys for stuff that your father, your uncle, your brother won't a lot of the times. Whether it's by their ignorance or because they don't know how the sexual marketplace works now, things have changed significantly. Now, let's go back to the original article here. Alcohol consumption is down. Well, why is alcohol consumption down? Alcohol consumption is down because men, like this scenario I just gave you, are realizing that nightlife, bars, etc., are simply not conducive environments to pick up women unless you're a high sexual market value guy. Average dudes are going to strike out. So if you take the fact that, number one, the red pills exploded in popularity, then number two, most guys share experiences with always striking out at the club and or nightlife, it's no wonder that alcohol consumption is down. There's no point. Because most guys know that drinking alcohol is intimately tied to the pursuit of women. So why are you going to drink alcohol if you're not even bothering to pursue the women?
Yeah, but I'm saying also too is that dudes know their friends. And they know their friends that are getting all these women to sleep with them. Like, for instance, if you have if a dude goes and he spends money in a bar or whatever else, and then he finds out later that there's a dude that's coming over at 11 p.m. at night, pounding her out, and he hasn't had to spend $1. He doesn't take on any dates. He doesn't have to do anything. And then you have things like the T Act that's exposing women's sexual patterns and sexual history. So even like the situation in Ghana, where the Russian dude came over, he just told the women, come to my room. They went to their room and he pounded them out. So certain men are not paying the price for access. And then you coming on, you got, all these women that fall behind, sprinkle, and all this other shit. I call that simp fishing. Looking for a sponsor. She's some demonic spirit looking woman. But the fact of the matter is this. She's teaching women how to find simps to sponsor their life. So that market is drying up, because dudes are like, hold on here. Man, it's like gouging. It's gouging. Price gouging. So dudes don't want to be gouged because it's one thing to pay $59.99 for or $100 for something when you find out the other dude got it for free. Like, hold on here. You charged me $250 for a date and I didn't even get no action. But this dude, you have a situationship with or French or whatever. He comes over after the date and he's going sack deep. Why the hell would that dude want to pay for a date? Or this woman, all of her youth in her 18, 19, 20, 21 to 30, she's been out here enjoying sexual liberation and living free and focusing on her career. Now she's 31, and now she's saying that she's a part of the celibacy movement and she's a born-again Christian, and you can't have sex with her for a whole year before marriage because you're the simp. You're not the guy that she wanted. So now you're paying. What are you getting that the other 20 guys before you have not gotten? Is the question that a lot of guys are asking. And that's gouging. That's price gouging. That's gouging, marriage gouging. Because she just raised the price on you. What are you getting that basketball player who folded up in the dorm has not gotten from her? What is her commitment worth to you? In fact, she has no skill. In fact, she hasn't been really raised to be a wife or nothing. So dudes are getting smart with that. Like, no. Because the women are putting online the things that they're doing with men. The Ghana situation. What about the Atlanta homeless guy? He got 1,000 women offering him a place to stay. So guys are putting the two together and be like, hold on here. Wait a minute. Price gouging. Like it's crazy. Well, it's going on globally too, man. I'm gonna get to that video later. But dudes don't. One thing would piss dudes off more than anything else is if I walk into a store and you give me something for $2 and the next dude walk in the store and somebody charge him $150 for the same product. And dude knows it and he sees it. You want to piss guys off? Overcharge them. And that's what the women are doing right now. See, back in the day, women like Sprinkle, and all these other women were called chicken heads. And the women used to help us, like when you consume chicken heads, the women used to shame you. They'd be like, oh, peaceful life, you're nasty. You slept with that chicken head. And you'd be like, oh man, they caught me. They busted me sleeping with a chicken head or like a fat chick or something. There used to be shame from men sleeping with chicken heads, like the Sprinkle lady and stuff. Now these chicken heads have gotten out of the farm. They're online telling men what they deserve, charging men a price. This is why it's the twilight zone for most Gen Xers. Now the chicken heads are talking trash to men on the internet. And the women, I blame some of you women too. You used to shame the chicken heads back in the day. You used to shame men for sleeping with the chicken heads. But then social media and the increase in feminism and the increase in liberalism and all the other shit happened. And then everything, and this social media shit. It just made everything where women are gaslighting value. I've seen old women my age, old like me, talking about man should pay 100% of the bills. For what? So he can do what with you? Your ovaries there's dust in there's ancient tone dust from the pyramids in your ovaries. What is he going to pay 100% of the bills for? You've been working your whole life. You ain't got no money? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell? What's up, Larry? He said, once these mindless men get the memo to stop chasing these feefos, they'll wake up to better themselves. Absolutely. But those understand is, look, there's no solutions. There's only trade-offs. And the bad deals are just what they are. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, another one of those old chicken heads, gaslighting value, 40 years old, ovaries dried up. What the hell what's she going to offer a man? What, put an egg somewhere, the last living eggs in her body? If a man wants kids, he's just going to get a 25-year-old. Like a 40-year-old woman you should be arrested if you impregnate a 40-year-old woman. Exactly. You should be arrested for impregnating 40-year-old women as a man. You'd be arrested. You certainly, and these women that are trying to mind manipulate simps into paying 100% of the bills after they have lived their life and enjoyed themselves, they should be arrested for scamming. Like, get out of here. Kick rocks. It's crazy shit, man. Yeah, like the women that got no life left in them. I mean, what's they call that stuff for abusing the elderly? What's the department called for abusing the elderly for every state? The Senior Protection Bureau should be arrested. Like, if you go and have sex with biblical fathers, you should be arrested for abuse of the elderly and shit. Like when the women are dating, looking for the love. Love my ass. Nobody looking for no damn love. Ain't no women my age looking for no love. They're looking for sponsorship. A jellyback simp, that a good pension, benefits, a house they can grab onto and pass to their kids. You know, like, yeah, they're looking for some assets they can pass on to their kids or their family or themselves and take care of them in old age. Because they know men usually die before women. So they're setting themselves up for a future. That's what they talk about with their girls. Girl, I just want to give me a good jellyback. They don't call them jellybacks. Good pension, good benefits, and all that stuff. They're trying to come up. Nobody wants to be with no dudes like that. But this alcohol decline, I want to play that part with Martin. Like, people may not like what I say, but they know it's true. You know, they ain't trying to do all that.
These guys are social drinkers. They're not going to drink just to get drunk. And I would argue that men of this generation are far more red pilled on female nature than my generation. Don't get it twisted. We still got a lot of simps. But for you guys, like, the red pills become mainstream. My generation, it wasn't. So first I wanted to open up with this, that alcohol sales are down 830 billion. And I would argue a big reason why it's down is because a lot of men are walking away, right? Then I saw this video here where Mike Maslick talks about this. And he kind of dances around the topic, by the way, which I always thought was kind of funny. I'll play it one time through and then I'll play it and break it down. One time through, no interruptions. Give me one sec, guys.
Alcohol is in decline. Alcohol is in rapid, permanent decline, they're saying.
Yes.
There's just a lot of people out there who just don't want to drink alcohol anymore. It's very, you know, it's very detrimental to your health, to your decision making, obviously. And so some people are going towards psychedelics. Some people are just doing drugs. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on out there, but alcohol has become, it's in decline. And so what you're seeing along with that is you're seeing a lot of very alcohol dependent scenarios also decline, and that means super clubs, because there's really no way to want to spend that much time in a club, like a super club, without being under the influence. It's just not so I think the trend will continue to push towards lounges, places that you can have conversation, which is great. And of course, like, we live in a world where everybody wants to have they want to be in an aspirational scenario. Everybody wants to be at the place that you can't get into. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of.
All right, so let's play this again. Now I'll give some commentary. I want you guys to be able to hear it one time uninterrupted.
Decline. Alcohol is in rapid, permanent decline, they're saying.
Yes.
There's just a lot of people out there who just don't want to drink alcohol anymore. It's very, you know, it's very detrimental to your health, to your decision making, obviously. And so
but that's not the reason.
People are going towards psychedelics. Some people are just doing drugs.
Yeah, so there you go. Because they're finding other ways to, you know, numb themselves, but they're just not doing it via alcohol as much anymore.
Like, there's a lot of stuff going on out there, but alcohol has become, it's in decline. And so what you're seeing along with that is
like, when I was growing up, I remember people used to say alcohol is social lubricant. Well, there's no need to use social lubricant if you're not going to be social. And the reason why guys aren't as social is because many men have figured out that the math just don't math. It's not worth it to pursue these insufferable, annoying chicks.
Bingo. That's what it comes down to. Especially when all they're talking about is the equivalent of prostitution. All these women are talking about is prostitution. They only talk about money in exchange for their companionship, money in exchange to go on dates. The modern dating and relationship market is nothing more than has been degraded into conversations about money, resources, and providership, which is basically prostitution. They're selling you their feminine availability for profit. Provider, pay for my bills, pay money. It's prostitution. You have to pay $20, $50 for a date. That's only for the guys they don't really date or they wouldn't like in their 21, they bill them. If a woman is trying to get you to pay all that money for dates, it's because she doesn't really like you. A woman that really likes you protects your wallet. She's not going to want you spending all that money and going broke. But they charge the jellybacks and they charge the guys who they don't like. And then you have these simp guys in here beating on their chests because what they're trying to do is outflank other men. It's like Dirty Mac. Oh, you guys are broke and dusty. You know, and these female or gynocentric matriarchal males, you know, the coach of clinician. Let me drop a link for the brother. The coach of clinician. I sent the link to you through email, but here, this is for the Culture Connection, okay? This is for kosher. So that's really what it comes down to in the situation is that I sent the link for Kosher Condition to come up. You have a conversation. Oh, there he is. My brother, my lovely mother. The Kosher Condition. Welcome to the building, my brother. What's going on? How you doing there? Are you there? He walked away from the there you go. I can't hear you. You got mute? I can't hear you, Kosher.
How do I connect the stream?
Oh, I sent the link. I put it in the chat.
Connect the stream?
Yeah, I put it in the chat. I sent it by email.
Right. But I'm talking about the stream so I can stream it to my channel.
Oh, you do it before you come in. You'll see that you're using StreamYard, right?
Yeah, I didn't see it. Let me log off. I'll be right back here. I'm coming back.
Okay.
I'm coming back. I'll be back.
All right, salute to Kosher. Can you guys hear me? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me.
You're seeing a lot of very alcohol dependent scenarios also decline, and that means super club.
Nightclubs, bars, etc. Now, the other thing with nightclubs, guys, right? There's a couple of things that killed nightlife. And I've talked about this explicitly before, but I'll kind of cover this again because some of you guys are new here. One of the things that absolutely killed nightlife, by the way, was the rise of bottle service. I've noticed no one really talks about this. One of the things that absolutely killed nightlife and night game was the introduction of bottle service. Namely bottle service and VIP sections. And the reason why is because by instituting something like bottle service and sections, what you've inadvertently done is you've now commodified the asset to pay customers in the first place. Nightclubs have to operate on a delicate balance of having enough girls there to get men to go there while simultaneously also having enough men to foot the bill. I'm going to say that again. Guys, this is very important. Okay, this is very important shit that no one ever talks about. Nightclubs run on a very tight rope and delicate balance where they have to have enough women in the nightclub to incentivize men to come and spend money, but they also can't have too many women in the nightclub because women don't pay for shit and they're bad for business. But they're a necessary evil because they're the ones that bring the men there who actually do spend the money. And this, my friends, has been a mathematical equation that many nightlife owners have had to battle with for years. You have to have like the perfect ratio of both parties to be profitable while simultaneously bringing in your customer base. Because if you don't have the men, you don't get any money. Because let's be explicitly clear about this. Most women are not going to pay to go out, bro.
He's absolutely right. And the dude's getting smart now. They're like, I'm not going home with no, I'm telling you, one of the best things that women do is they tell on each other. They tell on themselves online, on social media. They'll put all kinds of posts on Instagram. They'll put themselves out. They put themselves out with certain dudes. And they'll show a lot of the activity, especially with the T app. They'll show a lot of the activity that they do in their own private life. And again, we go back to that price gouging scenario. And when we talk about dating and relationships, why would they pay more? You know, they're just not going to pay. The dude's just not going to. I mean, think about it. You take your hard-earned money, and the reason why they are going on these dates and guys are investing, either they want a relationship or they want to smash. Shoot, they can just go get smashed for $60. So why would you go on a date where there's no guarantees of anything, of a relationship or even any physical action, when they can just hire a pro? They're not going to do it. They're just going to go, become like Uncle Earl. Listen, the guys are going to become like Uncle Earl. This is what they're going to become like. Yeah? Let me get out of here. This is what's going to happen to guys. I'll tell you what's going to happen. And a lot of people accept this reality that when you start overcharging men for dating and relationships, they're going to become like this guy. This is what's going to happen to guys. When you start overcharging men for relationships, and they guys see the 11 p.m. guy come through at night, and he doesn't have to pay nothing for dating and relationships, and he's getting access to her body, that guy is going to feel like he's in some price gouging reality. He's going to feel like crap. He's going to stop dating. He's going to stop going out for relationships. He's going to stop approaching women, and he's going to become like this guy. This is what he's going to become like. This is what the man's going to become like this guy right here. Go ahead and let him have it, Uncle Earl.
I told her she's smiling.
She wasting her time.
She was
baby.
like,
Listen, Arnetta would be dead as hell 10 minutes after I put my hand on Arnetta.
why?
She too old. She can't cut the mustard.
What herb, please?
I done told you.
Come on now.
Look, baby, I stay in good shape. I eat good. I sleep good. I get plenty of rest. Take all my vitamins.
So what's the average age of the woman that you date?
At least 27, 28, 30 years old.
Girl, I don't believe that.
Well,
What the young woman want with an old man?
money.
But what about the ones that got money?
Want more money.
No.
I ain't never had no problem, baby. Let me tell you something. I go with damn near anybody I really want to, because I approach them respectfully, and I always reproach them.
Oh, Lord. Here you go. Here comes the bankroll. Here it comes.
This is what make it all happen right there.
That's what make it happen.
This what make it happen.
If a man want to know how to meet a nice woman, how you meet her?
With this. First damn word come out your mouth. I got money.
But those not respectable women.
I don't want no respect. I want some ass. Damn the respect. I want you to break down like a 12-gauge double barrel shotgun and show me what you're working with.
But don't you want commitment?
What? To who?
You don't want to be committed.
I'm committed to getting her to that bedroom and giving her what she needs and let her go. Oh, no, baby, no.
That's because you don't want to listen to her because she's young and she ain't got nothing in her head. So you need an older woman your age. Y'all can talk about
what I'm
politics.
looking for,
You could talk about
what I'm looking for is
the
not in her
70s,
head.
the 80s. You could talk about growing up.
What I'm looking for ain't in her head.
And you know, the sad
I told her she's smart.
salute to Coach Clinician that's entered the building. Salute to you, man. What I'm saying is that, oh, I'm sorry. Let me get that back over there. What I'm saying is we're creating an environment of Uncle Earl. And it's a sad reality because what happened, I talk about relationship price gouging or gouging, where women are asking certain men, the men that they don't find attractive in their youth,
Right.
for traditional MSRP, while the you know, Mook Mook Day Day and Chad and them is coming in at 11 p.m. on a Friday night. They don't have to take them on no dates. They don't have to do listen to all this nonsense these women are spewing out of their mouth. And many of these women have enjoyed sexual liberation in their youth. Some of them find Christ when they hit 30 or pretend, do the religious pump fake. Then they try and Jesus themselves into a relationship, the religious backdoor, I call it,
Right.
using the church. I don't want to say pimping Jesus, but that's I can't say that. You know what I mean? And then they try and get some guy to pay a higher price, treat them like some of this traditional virgin. Because 100% provider, in my opinion, is virgin prices, especially for feminists that have worked their whole life. So they're gaslighting value on the internet. But salute to you, my brother, the only masculine male, the only masculine therapist in these spaces, the Coach of Conditions. Welcome to the channel. And what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. It's almost like it's a psyop, Peaceful Life. Almost like a psyop. It's definitely manipulation. And it's manipulation on many levels because basically what they're trying to tell men is that they don't have any value outside of the woman's approval. I'm going to do a show soon talking about a concept called introjection, something that I've talked about many times. It's an ego defense mechanism, and many modern women are very manipulative, and the reason why a lot of them do what they do, because they really don't see you as their authority figure. They either see you as their equal, or they see you as less than. And because many men have not been in families and homes where they've been raised by masculine fathers, they tend to do things based on what the woman expects them to do. And that's always never the best outcome for a man, because masculinity is always tied into men setting the template, and men also setting the standard.
Yeah, salute to you, man. I totally and absolutely agree, man. And we talk about it all the time. And I think more so, maybe you can handle it even more. I think a lot of men don't really truly understand the unfair deal they're being offered with relationships.
Right.
The requirement that men pay 100% of bills for women that have never been traditional, have never been, and they are men getting the same value that men got 100 years ago, and for the price that's being asked. Go ahead.
Right. Listen, man, you know what the answer is, brother. Come on, man. You already know the answer, Roger. You're on Peaceful Life. You already know they're not getting the same value as what men got 100 years ago. And that's why I say it's a psyop, and it's psychological manipulation on many levels. And listen, it's not necessary that some of the men don't know any better because they've been conditioned to see things through the lens of women and doing what's best for women. But Paul said that when I was a child, I spoke as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. It's time for men to start reclaiming their value. That's why I'm a licensed clinical therapist. And I'm not one of these, these fake therapists like Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I'm a literal therapist that went to an elite school, and I have a genuine heart to see men do well. However, YouTube is a business, and you want to be successful in YouTube. You don't put in hours of editing and cutting just to sit up and talk. You want to be compensated for your time, because being a content creator it's hard. It's not an easy job. So it's definitely psychological manipulation. It's what the current culture is telling men they should do. But masculine men don't let women tell them what the standard is. She become what the standard is. And if she don't become the standard, then that's fine. That man keep going on to the next woman. That's why I get perturbed when I hear some people say level up. I say level up for what? Now, should a man level up for himself and level up for what's best for him? And, leveling up to put himself in a position to get the best woman that he can get, and the best woman that he can get based on standards that are symmetrical to what he worked in, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. But leveling up for whores and leveling up for ran through women and leveling up for women that got kids by other men, what am I leveling up for? What am I literally, because see, let me tell you something, Peaceful Life. What my father got back in the day, and my mom died last year, my dad got a virgin wife, ready, no kids. And that's why I get so angry when I hear people say level up, because you're not giving me anything in fair exchange. Fair exchange is no robbery, man. It ain't no robbery with fair exchange, but they don't want to give me in fair exchange. So if you're not going to give me fair exchange, fine. Just don't expect me to pay the full price and to pay, the full price and pay full bills for some used cat. And they get mad because they're not used to men having standards. They don't expect men to have any standards, because they see the man as a subjugate to them instead of seeing the man as being the all-encompassing one where she follows his lead and he loves her and protects her. And one of the biggest caveats that a lot of women always talk about, they struggle when they hear the word submit, and not understanding that submission is a duality. Women submit to the laws of the land. They submit to their jobs. They submit to their bosses. When they gave Day their body, they submitted because they allowed Day to put his penis inside of her. But what women don't understand, submission to a man and submission to a woman is something totally different. A man is never to submit to the authority of a woman, but a woman is supposed to submit to the authority of the man. But the man submits by dying for her and protecting her, which is the highest honor. And her highest honor is to obey his leadership and to help him be the best version of himself. But what's happening now, women like Lisa Ray and some of these older women, they've either had kids or ran through, they want to tell men, they want men to pay all the bills. And, Kevin Samuels was a brilliant man. I love Kevin Samuels, but I didn't agree 100% with everything Kevin said. I don't believe men should pay all bills unless that man is getting something in return. If he's getting a higher value, a higher quality woman in return, yes, pay all bills. But you gotta understand, Kevin Samuels at one time was a simp. And I'm not saying this to denigrate Kevin, but Kevin will tell you that Kevin went from being a simp to being a multimillionaire, high value man. Kevin went from being a simp to a multi-value, high value man. And so Kevin Samuels was not raised in a home where he had a father like I did. Kevin Samuels was raised in a home where his mother. So Kevin Samuels saw things through the lens of his mother instead of seeing things through the lens of masculinity. Even though Kevin Samuels was brilliant and Kevin Samuels was great, Kevin Samuels had a flaw in his argument, because even though Kevin Samuels advocated for therapy, Kevin Samuels was wrong if he expected men to pay all bills. Because watch this, they say that Kevin was looking, and Kevin probably was looking at it from a perspective, bless his soul, where he saw his mom struggle and he saw his mom having to pay all bills because his father wasn't there. But if a woman, Roger, is a feminine woman, she's gonna be a feminine woman regardless if you pay all them bills. The environment will help her become more feminine. But putting a woman in a conducive environment is not always a guarantee that that woman's going to be a feminine woman. I see it all the time in therapy. So it's a misnomer to assume that put her in a feminine environment, she could be in her femininity. Because if you want to sell that based on femininity, then the man might say, well, I can't be masculine because you're not giving me cooperation. I can't be masculine because, I don't get sex on a regular basis. Men understand we got to be masculines regardless. We understand that certain feminine virtues can enhance our masculinity, but it's not a prerequisite by default that a man is going to be not masculine because of certain conditions. So did Kevin mean well? Yes. Was Kevin a brilliant man? Yes. Did Kevin take certain concepts from other content creators and package it and become a multimillionaire? He did. He got talking points with Tom Likas. He got talking points with Thomas Sotomayor. He got talking points from different content creators. And he was brilliant, and he was a hard worker, and he sold it. And he sold it at a time when the economy, where the beer virus was out. But I will argue, as much as I love Kevin, that Kevin was wrong if you expect a man to pay all bills for a commodity that's highly used. And I know it sounds harsh, but it's just the raw truth. Now, as I've said before in the past, I believe that it should be prorated. It should be prorated. And you might not ever know her full body count, but it needs to be prorated, Roger. It needs to be prorated based on.
Cooking, baby. I'm with you. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, it needs to be prorated based on how many, not men, but men's with a Z she's been with. Now, if she was a virgin, she wife ready, she got emotional regulation, she's been raised to be a traditional woman. A man should strive to pay 100% of the bills. I say strive because it's hard to do, but he should strive to pay as much as he can for that woman. Because that woman is worthy of an honor of such. But let's say she got 5 bodies, but she's a feminine woman, and then we're gonna prorate it. Then we ain't gonna pay 100%, but I might look at maybe 90, 85%, because she got some virtue. She's like a higher tier woman. Because there are some good women that are not virgins, but they're good women. That's why I said being a virgin alone is not enough. She had to be a virgin, wife ready, no children, and emotional regulation. She got to have those 4 qualities in hand for a man to pay 100% of the bills. But see, what these women are doing now, Kevin, because he was raised by women, saw things through the lens of his mom. That's called introjection. That's an ego defense mechanism. And they struggle with any man to have standards outside of that conditioning that he said or saw or more or less internalized based on, how he saw his mother. But Kevin Samuels was beginning to change right before he passed away. He was telling men, look, don't worry about no community. You start dating women, you celebrate women that celebrate you. And so back to the point of men paying all bills for a used commodity, it's an insult. And what these women are doing, they're trying to come in on the back end. Because see, the social contract Peaceful Life said, sexual exclusivity, under that man's leadership, no kids by other men, sexual exclusivity. Men now are not getting sexual exclusivity before they get married and also after they get married. Because if a woman give a man her body, she cheated on her future. She cheated on her future husband. She might say, well, I didn't know him. You don't have to know him, sweetie. That's why it's called fornication. You gave your body to a man that wasn't your husband. And now you want that man to pay full price. I'm not saying that women can't have made bad choices in that day. We all make bad choices. But guess what? The world don't owe us no apology. Men don't care. The world don't care about if men make bad choices. We're going to have to deal with the consequences.
You're totally correct.
Am I talking right? We're going to have to deal with the consequences. And so she's going to have to deal with the consequences. So all this manipulation about men paying all bills, I would tell Kevin if he was alive, and I love Kevin and say respectfully, I disagree with you 1,000,000%. I'm not paying all bills for something used. I'm just not going to, because she won't want a used dress. If you gave her a used dress for the wedding day, she don't want that dress. If you gave her a used ring, she don't want that ring. And so the most important thing the woman can give a man is her body. That's more important than anything for a lot of men. And so, we condition men to take less. But at the same time, women are conditioned to still have high standards, even though they're giving their virtue away.
No, I totally agree. And I'm glad you said that, because I think with Kevin and them, they were talking about and when they talk about these numbers and these incomes, they keep focusing on the 10% of men and the 10% of women.
Right.
When average man making $50,000 a year need to get with an average woman. An average woman need to get with an average man. But when Kevin talked about this high value man, all the women heard was 6 figures.
That's all they heard, right?
They didn't hear the other requirements, and they don't understand. You go to the Pew Research, you do the statistics. If a couple gets together and one's making 50, the other making 50, and they invest their money over time, they can build a very comfortable life.
Right.
But with social media, with the delusion, all women heard was 6 figures or whatever. And now with these I call them we used to call them back in the past, the chicken heads, like the sprinkle lady.
Right.
These women are just old,
chicken head. Right.
That's a chicken head talking to women.
Mm-hmm.
These women that mismanaged their youth, they've given their bodies away to certain men, and they're trying to punish the men they wouldn't date when they were 21 and 22 with this 100% providers. These women have been feminists their whole life, strong and independent, raised, you don't need no man. And I'm saying that the relationship market has changed into prostitution, and they're really fishing for a simp or fishing for a sponsor. But what I wanted to pivot for you, because I know you're into, first of all, guys, hit the like button on the channel and make sure you support the Coach Your Condition. Do you have your Cash App so you can put it in the chat, brother? You put your chat.
Yeah. I definitely do that. And listen, guys, y'all support Peaceful Life, man. Listen, man, we put our neck on the lines trying to inspire men, and then on top of that, I mean, I'm not a fake therapist. I'm a real therapist. My credentials speak for itself. Right. I just take a more non-conventional approach. And, some might say I'm controversial. I'm not controversial. The truth is controversial. Or they might say I'm unorthodox, but I'm not unorthodox. Right. We live in a time now where truth is stranger than fiction, and delusion is at an all-time high. And so folks don't want to deal with reality. I'm just talking about reality, and I hate manipulation. You men that are listening have made good choices, and some of you men need to get mental health services. That's why you need to get a non-diagnostic consultation when you can afford it. But you're not getting the best of the best. You are the leader. You should set the standard, not letting the woman tell you what the standard is going to be. Because what's happening in Peaceful Life, a lot of these women are telling men what the standard is instead of becoming the standard.
But these guys are getting worse too, though, Coach. I see a lot of these red pill guys always talking about, I understand, like when a guy says CGA, he says boss up, he means something totally different than when some other guy talks about money. Let me put it on the screen. Guys, make sure you support the Coach Your Condition. $7 smalls, the Cash App, or you can put a super chat to the channel. But men are supposed to be the best version of themselves and achieve certain financial freedom and goals. But when you talk about top tier men, and I think about the totality of a man, I think about his drive, his motivation, his character. Money is a measure of success, yes. His ambitions, his skills, his knowledge, his discipline. When we talk about masculinity, we talk about masculinity in terms of the complete picture of a man. And you're a man with 3 daughters. If a man came to your house and he was making $250,000 a year, and his character was poor, versus a man come to your house, he's making $80,000 a year, but his character is outstanding, and you had to make a choice to help your daughter make a choice of what man to choose. A man is going to evaluate a top tier man, not just purely on income. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Well, listen, that was another. I understood what Kevin was coming from. He was talking about a high value man as it relates to a certain tier of man that makes a certain amount of money. But monetary status alone does not make a man a high value man. Exactly. That's a part of it. But if that's the case, then Jesus himself wasn't a high value man. Jesus wasn't rich. He was a regular man, but Jesus was a high value man than a rich man. I understand he's talking about class stratification of money.
Right. Right.
But money alone does not make a man a high value man. There are a lot of weak men that are simps that got money.
They get destroyed. There's a lot of dudes. Some of the worst jellybacks are guys that are millionaires. Some of these athletes, ball players, are getting played, getting their money taken from them. Some businessmen or whatever, because they never develop their masculinity in totality.
Right.
And it becomes a situation, where their manhood, their masculinity is they just have money. They're successful.
Right.
They're just wealthy men versus high quality men. It's a different measuring stick about a man's quality. It's a total picture. And what happens inevitably, we tend to focus so much, even in the red pill, on the 10% of men, when 90% of the population are average income earners that need to get together and make families and build a life together.
Right.
But the women are on the internet, they're focusing on the 10% of men.
Right. And what makes a man a high value man is not just because of his money, but as a man of high moral constitution, a man that understands what his core values are, a man that's unwavering in his conviction, a man that understands that money alone does not equate to my masculinity. That's a high value man. That's a high value man. It's more than just one element. It's multiple elements that is encompassed to make that man a high value man. I'm going to show you some peaceful life. Hold tight. This gonna prove our point. I want to show you something. I'm gonna do a show on this guy too, man. I saw a show, but he's a high value simp, and this man proves my point. I'm gonna probably do a show on it. He was raised by his mom. This man married this woman that had kids by another man. He bought her kids clothes, peaceful life, bought her cars, and her kids disrespected him, man. Let me see if I can find the video. This man married a baby mama. But if you look at the man's pedigree, you don't see the father nowhere in sight. And that's an ego defense mechanism called introjection. He's what you call a high value simp. He would be what Kevin Samuels called a high value man. Pay all bills. But what are you paying all bills for? what are you paying all bills for? Now this is the woman that let me see if I can find the video. This is the woman that tore his house upside down. I don't know if she took the videos down or not. But she tore his house upside down, man. She disrespected the man. And because this man, he must have took it down because this man don't have no high moral constitution. He's with a toxic woman that got kids by another man. Let me see if I can find it. So a lot of these men are men that are raised peaceful life. They don't have fathers. So they over-identify with the women. They over-identify with their mom. They feel bad. This woman got children. And this high value simp was disrespected by her and her kids. He must have took it down. But he was disrespected by her kids and her.
Right.
And these are the kind of men, community men that are being raised now because they don't do things based on masculine virtues. They do things based on how the woman feel and placating to the woman. And that never works for masculine men. A woman's job is to say, this is who I am. And this is how I can help come into your life. And your job is to tell her, this is how I plan to lead you and protect you. And then if it works, fine. If it don't, she keep it moving. But see, in America, the woman thinks she's the prize by default, but she's not the prize by default.
Right.
Men and women have prize-worthy virtues. The man is the master prize. She's the special prize. I can't believe this man went back to this woman. But this man is a so-called high-value man, peaceful life. His wife disrespected him on many levels. She hit him. She scratched him. He must have took the videos down, man. He must have. Maybe I can find the video. If I can find the video, I'll show it to you, man. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. But that's the thing about it. Like, we see so many rich jellybacks. Look at Tyrese. Tyrese Gibson is an example of that. Is he a high value man? Mm-hmm. Or is he a people don't understand that masculinity and self-esteem is something, and we talk about, and you've seen a lot of this probably in your practice, about how men come to you and it's almost probably a disbelief to you how they lack. They have this altruistic mentality, and they lack any type of self-esteem, or it's almost like they have this, I don't want to say suicidal empathy is related to something totally different, but it's like suicidal empathy. They're making excuses for the woman,
Right.
in a way. What have you seen in terms of men's mental health and men's self-esteem being raised in a society, matriarchal society or gynocentric society that's centered around women? What have you seen in the general consensus about men that you've had to deal with?
Well, their value of themselves is always tied to a woman's validation and approval. They don't have they don't have core values. They don't have clear standards, and they don't have any standards or values outside of how, many times outside how the woman perceived them. They get their standards and their values and their validation from the approval of a woman, which in itself is very very sickening and also very deleterious. Because we understand and know that women value power and strength. And so if you come to a woman for power and strength, that woman's not going to respect you fundamentally. And it's not all their fault. They didn't know. They were raised in chaos. They were raised in dysfunction. So they assume that's the right thing to do, but that's not the right thing to do, because women fundamentally don't respect men like that at a subconscious level. So they come in overvaluing women. They come in over placating to women. Part of the masculine is to do. They come in without having an identity outside of the woman's emotions. They indignify themselves for the approval of the woman. They don't have a core standard. They don't stand firm on business, and they just suffer because they don't want to make the woman upset. And that could never be me. I don't. We all learn and grow. We all have simped to some degree, but it's one thing to simp, and it's another thing to keep simping once you know better.
Right. Yeah, because I even when I played on some of my other videos, I was showing the video of Boris Cujo being chastised by his wife because she doesn't date her anymore. And even this thing with Steph Curry. So if this high value money thing solved most problems, why is Steph Curry's wife out here? He's high value as you can get,
Right.
top tier. And
Right.
she's disrespectful. And that's what I'm trying to tell these guys, like, you find out more about a lot of these women when you add them to that contract. You empower them with that state contract with marriage, and you're invested. And the sunken cost fallacy, where a man is invested so much that he doesn't want to leave, or he doesn't want to, either because society itself has no compassion for men when relationships fail. They blame every failing on the man. It's your fault. And his characterization would be like he's type of, bum or degenerate. And the sisterhood is going to accuse him of cheating or being a weak man. The guys are going to come in, the hunters get out here. So it's really like a game that's rigged, that no matter what the man does, he's still going to get kicked in the back.
Right.
And I think a lot of guys suffer in silence because of this, and they're afraid to say anything. Go ahead, brother.
Well, you could be a man with money, but if you don't have any masculine constitution or masculine fortification, it means nothing. You got, being a man is one thing, but being a man with money is something totally different. And so you got to be a man and also be a man with money. The problem with Steph Curry is probably an empath. He's probably, go along to get along. He probably don't want to make her upset. Instead of telling her the next time you disrespecting me as a man again, even though he's probably scared that he's going to have to pay a lot of money. But when your wife start disrespecting you, you need to start planning for an escape route just in case. And you let her know, if you do it again at some point, we're going to end this. I know it's hard, but women only respect power and strength. And the problem with Steph and a lot of men, the way they start out is how they should hold out. Steph probably started out being understanding and also seeing things through the lens of his mother. And a lot of men tend to over-identify with the mother. I had 3 sisters. At one point, I had to break that simp spell because I saw things through the lens of my sisters instead of seeing things through the lens of masculinity. When I stopped seeing things through the lens of women and started seeing things based on masculine principles, my life started changing. And so, that's why, like I said, I don't believe in this level up. If you can either level up to be the best version of a man that you can be. It's fourfold, peaceful life. If you're a godly man, you're gonna level up to get a virtuous woman. Ideally, we know it's hard to find, but that's ideal. We know it's hard to find.
Right.
The second tier will be the level up just for your own self-esteem, and also the level up to put yourself in the best position to travel and make your own decisions and to be the master of your own fate.
Right.
The third step to level up would be the level up just to get whores. That's called hedonism. Those are men that don't believe in a higher power. They think that once they die, it's over with. Well, creation gives too much evidence that there's a God. You don't have to believe in the God of the Bible, but there's a higher being. Science actually affirms God. A fool has said in his heart that there is no God. So I don't listen to fools. If they want to believe there's no God and you can be a whoremonger and screw all the women you want, keep doing it. You'll find out when you close your eyes in death. And then the fourth one, which is the worst one, is to level up for ran-through women that are baby mamas and former 304s, and now they're scapegoating Jesus because they want a man to come in and rescue them. So you should level up as a masculine man for a woman that's a virtuous woman, ideally low bodies, virgin to low bodies, a woman that has emotional regulation. She respects your leadership. She has no kids, and she's wife ready. And she's a godly woman that understands her dark nature, and she's always working on it. That's what you should level up for. Don't listen to these idiots that keep telling you, talking about level up for whores. I'm not going to level up for a 304. Unless, if you want to level up just to level up for the sake of getting some box, fine. That's your business. But no man should just level up for the sake of a woman. No way. He should level up for his own masculine fortification. That's the main thing a man should be doing.
I totally agree, man. But I saw this, it's a cartoon thing, but let me know what you think about this.
No sex for a long time for a man doesn't just make him frustrated. It changes him. At first, it feels like tension. Then it feels like rejection. Then it slowly becomes emotional distance. Men don't only experience intimacy physically. They experience reassurance through it. They experience connection through it. They experience being chosen through it. When that disappears for a long time, he doesn't just feel unmet. He feels unwanted. And a man who feels unwanted doesn't usually explode. He adapts. He stops initiating. He stops expressing desire. He becomes quieter, more self-contained, more guarded. Not because he stopped loving, but because reaching started to feel humiliating. Over time, that lack of connection bleeds into everything. Conversations feel colder. Affection feels forced. Home feels less like refuge and more like obligation. Intimacy is not just about sex. It's about emotional safety, bonding, and mutual desire. When that's neglected, resentment grows quietly. Men who understand this learn how to address the root without begging, without anger, and without losing their dignity. I break this down clearly in my guides. Comment mind, and I'll send them to you. No sex for a long time for a man doesn't just make him frustrated. It changes him. At first, it...
So we just like we was talking about it, and let me get that off the street. A lot of men are suffering in silence. And we deal with sexless marriages, and a lot of these women who get with men they wouldn't dated when they were 21,
right?
And the guy or guys that they get with women that are. That's why this conversation about money irritates me so much with these some of these red men and some of the manosphere, some of even the red pill content creators, they put out generally good content, but when they get into talking about this money thing, the level up part is about freedom, but there's guys who make money that pay all the bills, that are doing all the right things and are still living in households with sexless marriages.
Yes, sir. I've seen it.
Yes. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Let me move this from the screen.
Let me tell you something, Peaceful Life. I've met guys in bars. I've met men in my practice. And the worst case I've ever seen was a guy that was a neurosurgeon.
Right.
This man, Peaceful Life, made over $900,000 a year. He paid all bills, gave his wife a nice house to live in. She didn't give him intimacy. When she did give him intimacy, it was starfish intimacy. She didn't really care about him as a man, because what these men don't understand, Peaceful Life, most of these women, when they get married, the man that they marry is the man that they settle for.
Yes.
It's not really the man that she really wanted. It's the man that she settled for, because, that vagina was tired. That vagina was singing Negro spirituals, swings low, swing chariot. Because she had all the fun she wanted to have. Now, after she had all the fun, gave all her virtue away, the man she married, she's not sexually attracted to him. Right. So he has to do a lot more versus for the man that, she gave her virtue away for free. And so this fallacy about paying all bills, or you pay all bills, the woman to be feminine, is a lie. In theory, it sounds good, but in reality, it makes no sense, because there are women that submitted to men that had nothing. I'm not saying the man shouldn't make money. I'm not saying the man should put himself in a financial position, but he's not doing that solely for the love of a woman. He's doing it for himself first. and then also for a woman that can become complementary. Because if a man worked out hard to become a high value man, I'm not gonna give it to a woman. My value is not tied to a woman. A woman can compliment me, but my value as a man is not tied to a woman's approval. My value comes from God, not from a woman. My woman is to enhance what God has given me. But my value comes from the Most High. It doesn't come from a woman. And so I've seen he was a neurosurgeon making $900,000. He was miserable. I tried to tell him, look, man, you're causing the problem. He disengaged therapy when I gave him when I brought him to his simp moment. I had another guy. He was an engineer making big money. His wife had kids. And we're going to use John Doe for HIPAA because I'm not going to say the name, but wife had kids.
Mm-hmm.
He made excuses for her. He hadn't had intimacy from his wife in 4 years. The worst case I've seen was a man that hadn't had intimacy. He was a millionaire, a real estate tycoon, hadn't had sex with his wife in 20 years.
Wow.
But these men were millionaires, quote unquote high value men, paid all the bills. But they were leaders in their profession, but they weren't leaders in their homes because they didn't demand anything for that woman. And 9 times out of 10, that woman was probably imprinted by multiple men before he got with it. That's why I get angry when people tell men to settle for ran-through women or women that got high bodies or women that are not virgins or got when I say extremely low, under 5. But they don't tell them that. They want men to settle for mediocrity. And they get in these relationships, and the women, they still pay all the bills like fools. And so neurosurgeon, engineer, but like I said, I had the worst case I've ever seen was a man go 20 years where he didn't have no intimacy with his wife. 20 years was the worst for a black man. One was 9 years. For another man, it was 4 years. But these men pay all the bills.
Exactly. And that's why I have a problem with some guys in the red pill. And they don't understand that masculinity, strength, and power.
Right.
Money is important, but that's just a small. Money is a part of the equation as far as. But unless you have masculinity, strength, and power, these women are not going to respect you. They're not. Mm-hmm. And a part of that too is that we talk about masculinity and male development. I mean, where do you see a lot of the lacking?
Mm-hmm. You're asking me the question?
Yeah, where do you see a lot of the lacking nowadays?
The major thing that I see is lack of self-awareness and lack of having fortified, codified standards that's symmetrical to his masculinity. They don't have a moral compass coming into marriage. They don't have a masculine blueprint coming in. They do things based on the emotional whims of a woman. We all have done it. I'm guilty of it. I don't do it anymore. And so they don't have a moral compass, and they don't understand what their core values are. So they compromise elements of their core values for the sake of appeasing women. And it never works fundamentally. It never works. It never have worked, and it never will work.
Right.
Because it's not tied to power and strength. She only respects power and strength. That's why the Most High said, cast not thy strength to a woman. You're supposed to be the leader in the relationship.
Yeah. And I'm seeing now, what I see is we got to talk about this mind manipulation game that I see where they're leading with shame to try and use men's egos against them.
Right.
Like if you say you broke, if you start by calling men broke and dusty and just, like this is what these gold diggers do nowadays. What they do is, it's like, I think even CJ was talking to it one day, was talking about how do you get rich people to spend money? And I think Adam Sandler's daughter walked into an expensive purse store in Beverly Hills, dressed in regular sweats or whatever. And the lady over the counter basically said to her that she can't afford that purse. Mm-hmm. What's intentionally, they're trained to treat women, rich people terribly to invoke their ego.
Right.
So she went home and got her dad, and they probably spent 10 times what that purse cost in that store to prove a point. But who won in the end? The store won. They sold him 10 purses or 10. He spent probably 10 times more money than that purse is worth. To prove, they go home thinking like, look, we showed them we have money, we have status. And I think what these women are doing nowadays, the sprinkle mentality, is they're coming out shaming men, calling them broke and dusty and you can't afford it, a provider, man, you have to pay 100% of the bills, to get men to try and prove their masculinity to a bunch of burnt out, ran through women. And that's the problem. It's the same mental tactic, gymnastic that's being used. You're laughing. No, I'm saying they're using that psychology that they use in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, it's reverse psychology at its finest. It's all mind manipulation and reverse psychology. And basically what it is to gain an advantage. Remember, the key preamble is that she only respects power and strength.
Right.
Ever since the fall of man, woman been wanting power in the relationship. And if she's not a godly woman, she'll take it by any means necessary. Listen, Frederick Douglass said it better than me, Peaceful Life. He said the power, it never conceded to nothing without a struggle. It never have and it never will. Right. So she's gonna always come in looking for power. She wanna change you to her program. Most men don't expect their women to change when it comes down to beauty, and most women expect men to change as it relates to her emotions, manipulating him. And a lot of these simps, they fall for it, man.
I call it simp fishing. And that's what I see with that. What happens if you lead with shame, what happens is it gets guys back on their heel, but they don't realize that what's talking to you is an old, burnt out, ran through chicken heads with the one video I saw where the chick said, well, I have 10 streams of income. Mm-hmm. But men got to pay for my babysitter if they want to date me. Now, no successful, obviously she's lying. She doesn't have any 10 streams of income. She's probably broke as hell. But she ain't got no money. But that's called gaslighting value. I see gaslighting value. I call it simp price gouging. Looking for that guy that just so weak and doesn't understand that woman is getting destroyed in the bedroom at night by situationships and other men that are not paying any dudes from the neighborhood, ex-boyfriends from the past. They're using her basically as a sperm receptacle. But she's online gaslighting value. And because the internet feeds women with so much delusion and visions of grandeur, they get people liking their video, liking everything they do. You got simps in there liking. And even now, even with these dating events, many of them women go to these dating events to validate the simping that they get online. So they get guys kissing their ass online. Mm-hmm. And that's why they're begging for men to approach them now. They already know the men they want. The men they want don't want them. Mm-hmm. So what they're getting a lot of simping and hideous dudes online coming at them, trying to get at them for. But when they go out in the real world, the reason why they want men to approach them so that they can reject those men that they don't want in the first place, and it validates their online, persona of. They got all these simps coming at them. They got all these jelly bags coming at them. Now let's confirm this in the real world. They're not going to give those men no opportunity because even in the real world, they're arrogant and they're out of touch with reality. When you have old women like Lisa Ray talking about provider man and
right. Yeah, they want to provide a man, and that's why I say that's what it makes me so upset because they keep trying to sell their standard of femininity to a man. And I'm really thinking about writing a book called Black Love Without Consent. Instead of asking the man, okay, what can I offer you to make you happy in this relationship where it's fair? And they're not going to ask that because they're selfish by nature. And so they use manipulation and backdoor tactics to manipulate men. They say, I want to provide a man. Well, ma'am, I'm not paying 100% for no used cat. I'm just not going to. No man should. I'm not going to be 100% provider male. I might pay some money, and then whatever money you pay as a husband, I'm going to make sure that money is going towards the family and whatnot. But if I pay a certain percentage, you're not going to be just taking the money, doing what you want to do with it while I'm paying all the bills. And then once you get sick of me and get tired of me, you can say I want a divorce because I'm not happy. You got to make a woman earn the relationship. Most men don't make women earn it. Yeah, a woman got to earn that relationship. It's like the man got to work hard to earn that woman's trust. Men should work hard to earn their wives' trust. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I totally. But what's left in a 58-year-old woman for a man? Like that sugar cane is dry. There's no more juice in that sugar cane. I mean, once you chew up that sugar cane and you take all the juice out of it, I mean, what else is left? What is a man going to get from being a provider for a woman that's past her birthing age? She's past 35.
Right.
I mean, you're dealing with a senior citizen. So really, you're dealing with. I mean, who's trying to pay 100% of the bills for senior citizens? Like, who
Right.
the hell is going on here? I mean, like,
Right. Well, that's what Lisa Ray, I think 59, she wanted the man to pay 50% of bills. And that's why I said I respect Kevin Sanders, but if Kevin Sanders was alive now, I would have a conversation with him and say, sir, there are holes in your argument. And you're seeing things through the lens of your mother because he was raised by his mom.
right.
And Kevin Sanders regretted being a simp. He said that, he used to take care of, he was a stepdaddy, a simp daddy.
Yeah, that's
And he said he regret doing it. So Kevin had to evolve and grow. As men, we evolve and grow. But men need to stop taking bad deals because they're not going to take a bad deal. A woman's not going to take a bad deal.
hell no.
She's not going to take a bad deal. And guess what? I'm not mad at it. So guess what? Don't get mad when I
They're
say
only doing that
you
to
don't
men they
qualify.
want, though. They're only doing it to the men they don't want. Because think about it. But for men that are older, mature, and whatever else, and if men have to pay 100% of the bills, and he's a masculine man, he's going to go out like Bill Parcells. He's going out like Parcells.
Right.
he got the 26-year-old girl.
Right.
You see when he did that fake feminist thing? What he did is he had the girl pretend like she was empowered, and she went off in the news. That's a scam. Bill ran that play, right? You notice you haven't heard anything about her acting up since then.
Mm-hmm. That's
Bill,
true.
Bill control that girl.
That's
what
true.
Bill did was I call it feeding the hyenas. What Bill did was this. Bill is very smart. He's going to show the girl like she's just getting over on him, and she has him in check, and she's in charge. And he knows that these feminists are slaves to empowered women taking advantage to men and mistreating men.
Right.
So what he did is he fed the hyenas,
Mm-hmm.
and he got them off his scent.
Mm-hmm.
So now when they see the young girl on the sidelines and everywhere, they're like, yeah, that bitch she's got that dude under control. While Bill is pounding the hell out of that at night and telling her to shut up and go sit in the corner. Bill is clever, man. I don't fall for that fake shit. But if a man has to pay 100% of the bills and he's old, and all these women, the old one want him for money, the young one want him for money, he's just going to go out like Parcells.
Right.
They're not looking for connection and love. They're just look at Lisa Ray. They're looking for money. And now you guys
Right. And Lisa Ray is not giving you nothing in return. That's why when I hear these conversations, I cringe. I can see if a woman was being fair. So, okay, I'm an older woman like Lisa Ray. I'm 59. I'm old. And so I don't expect this man to come in and be 100% provider male. I get so sick of these men telling men talking about a woman can't respect him unless he pay all the bills. Well, I've seen in practice myself that doesn't work. And even if it did work, a man should never pay 100% all bills for an old woman that's used up or these young 304s that's giving their bodies away to multiple men. No man should pay 100%. I didn't say you can't pay some of the bills.
right.
100% of bills should be paid for women that are virgins, wife ready, no kids, emotional regulation, have a strong spiritual constitution, understands her dark nature, and she respects that man to follow his leadership. Second tier should be women that got low bodies. And then maybe we can negotiate 90%, pay 90%. We'll prorate it based on how many men you've been with. We know they're going to lie about it, so you're going to have to take a lie detector test if you're going to be my woman. Because we know they're going to lie. I'm not going to invest. Listen, let me ask you a question, Peaceful Life. You were a cop and I was in law enforcement. We both worked in law enforcement. I went to school to be a cop. You were a cop. I could have been a cop. I had associates in law enforcement. When people decide what crime is, they say, what was the intent? Am I right or wrong?
Right.
You have to establish what the intent was. But also, when people decide to determine if there was a crime, they look at the background. They're going to do a background check, or they're going to do forensics to determine what the issue is. Anytime a person go into any kind of relationship, they're going to do a background to see if that person's value system line up with theirs. Right. But when it comes down to relationships, somehow we say her past don't matter, and we're supposed to look past it. And it burns me up because and I know it takes men years to become who we are. It took me years to become the man that I am. Right. A lot of sacrifice, a lot of hard work. And so they don't want these stories to get out because women by nature are solipsistic and by nature they're very manipulative. Right. They're going to manipulate you. They're going to come in and act like they down with men. Or that she with your program, but she really has an agenda. It's just a mask. They all wear the mask, and then until you say I do, they pull the mask off.
and you look at delayed relationships too. What the problem becomes is this: women are putting everything first and then putting marriage and family second.
Mhm.
So if you put your career, college, sexual liberation on the front end and your childbirthing years, and you've been alpha widowed over time, you know what I mean? Like the dudes have vigorously and viciously enjoyed you in college and dating, and the guy that's getting married is now number 10, number 20, number 30.
Mhm.
I mean, it's how does someone stay faithful and loyal into a relationship? What is this guy getting? This woman has lost her ability to imprint and pair bond, and because you're always competing against the other guy, the other 20 guys that she's been with, and you just sign a contract with this woman, or you've made a covenant with this woman that has had 30 guys and has delayed marriage and family until she's older, ran through, and it's getting to the point where it doesn't even make any sense, right?
It doesn't make any sense.
It's like the married guys getting
it doesn't make any
worst
sense,
deal
brother.
ever.
It doesn't make any sense. Let me tell you something. No person in their right mind will negotiate the deal that modern women expect men to take.
Oh, it's a horrible deal.
Just for the sake of it would be a horrible deal. She wouldn't even negotiate a deal that horrible, because ain't no woman gonna take a man unless she's sexually attracted to him. That say, okay, well, give me 20 years before I get on my feet, and then I show you I can be a good husband. He got to have his value already in hand by the time he get with that woman. Because watch this, she gonna always judge his future. So why shouldn't you judge her past?
Right.
She gonna judge your future income, how much money you gonna make, and she don't give you a pass. But we keep holding men to these 1950 standards while women can be modern. And folks get mad at me, you know, I'm not controversial. I get sick of folks talking about the truth. The truth is controversial. I'm not saying that it's not the truth. It's just the truth. So anytime men speak objective truth, it's controversial, man.
And everybody keeps living in the 10%. And
Right.
while everybody, the 90% is average. 90% of the men out here cannot afford to pay 100% of the bills under the current inflationary situation and system. And the women, if they really cared about a man, would not put that type of pressure on him, and she would help him out. Because this is the problem where a lot of red pill content creators, a lot of these guys, to maintain a standard of living that's comfortable, that's livable, that's enjoyable, you need two incomes.
Right. You need
Because you don't want to overburden that one person.
That's
what
right.
happens is that person becomes burnt out.
Right.
And you're putting too much load on that person. So we keep basing these conversations on the 10%, as opposed to dealing with the 90% of us who are average in life, that need to bring their incomes together, build a life, deal with inflation, deal with rising costs, buying a house, the ultimate. All the women that have got married, average women that got married to average men are doing okay right now. The ones that are struggling is the hardcore feminists that won't go 50-50, that won't split bills with men, because in their mind, they really hate men. They don't want to split bills with men, but they're struggling out here financially. And they're having to, some of them turning tricks on the side, but that's a whole nother segment on it. But they would rather be out here struggling because they really don't want to serve men. That's really what it is. Unless they're completely advantaged and they've been sold these things online about this image of a man that they've created in their mind that's been fed to them by the Panda Bears, the Simps, the Derek Jacksons of the world, the Sprinkle Lady, of this invisible man that they'll never get their hands on.
Right. And you know what's so sad is what this Shira 7 chick did to her husband when he passed away.
Oh yeah,
she just basically said, you know, he's a nobody.
Yeah, he's a provider. He paid all the bills.
She saw that. She just saw him as a human doing, man.
It's terrible, bro.
She didn't see no redeeming value in that man.
Yeah, it was disgusting, man. Like you know, there's certain things that I guess of the past that we just didn't do, man. We didn't talk about money when people passed away. You talked about their character, the type of person they were, how good they were to you and the family, and you know everything, the good things, good deeds in life, and who they were as a human being. You never talk about He was a good husband. He was a provider. Now he's dead. Like, yo,
Right,
and what happened is
right.
she created this.
Right. Very narcissistic.
It's narcissism, and again, it is spread globally. It is spread globally, and I see it now. Even when I look at the Chinese, have it bad, man. It's a global thing created by this narcissistic, the social media. How would I put it? Social media has created a new parallel dimension of delusion.
It has.
We think we're talking to somebody who's operating on the same frame that we're talking about, and you know, it's global too, man. It's global. You know, it's you know, and this one say, hey, there you go. Look, Q put it best. I know white men in upper levels management or administrators would ever make their wives pay 50 to 59, 50%. Black women and any other chick is delusional if they honestly think they will contribute nothing. But the problem is it all goes to the same pot. You're making the family wealthy. When a woman adds to the pot, a man adds to the pot, you're investing that money, you're investing in stocks and bonds and mutual funds and real estate and property. You're building a life together. By joining income and joining things. I don't get this selfish self. I think what it is just feminists that are, they tried the strong and independent thing. That crashed. They did the sexual liberation thing. That's crashed. Now they're just like, I'm gonna find me a sucker simp. He said 50-50 type. Oh, yeah, I got you. It's like, I'm going to find me a sucker now down at the end of this rainbow after I've mismanaged my blessings between my leg. And I'm going to find that sucker now. Because you know what they try to do? I think they overcharge the guy they wouldn't have dated when they were 21.
Right.
He's now 35, 33. He's a software engineer. He's squared away. He's whatever. They wouldn't have dated him when he was 21. Now, Mook, Day Day, and Daquan and Quictavious, they've already put some serious mileage on her. But there goes Kevin, the software engineer. He's 33, 34. He's making $150 a year. Now he got to pay 100% of the bills. When that chick slept with Mook was the first of the month dude. And he thoroughly, vigorously, viciously pounded her out. Thoroughly. I mean, he went thorough with her. And now that dude, she wants him to marry her. She goes to the church, repents of her sin, pretends to be a born-again Christian, tries to do the religious backdoor. She tells him, I have been on a celibacy journey for 1 year. And I want a man that's God-fearing and how they say it now? I can't even say that. Well, he's equally yoked, or what a word they use.
Yeah, equally yoked. That's it. They want a man that's equally yoked.
Oh my God.
But she's been yoked by multiple men.
I mean, the body counts is like now they go for. I mean, it's disrespectful to the church. I'll be honest with you. And some of these pastors, they just accept that. They rebrand and they misuse the God, religion, and then they talk about, they'll try and religious shame that guy into marrying them,
right?
And call him some type of sexual demon because he wants to enjoy what Mook enjoyed back in 2011 or something or whatever, and he wants to. He's more so saying, you know what? Hey, look. And she's going to define to him what the Bible says men are providers and protectors and this, and this. And men should take me on and pay 100% of the bill. It's biblical. But if you turn it back and say, well, biblical, well, aren't you supposed to be a virtuous, virgin Christian lady?
Right. They forget that part.
Forgot that part.
Yeah, they forget that part. They forget that part. And see, you know what the problem was? A lot of these women, they talk virtue, but yet some of these women still want to be modern women because they give their bodies away. They say they believe in they don't have a problem with women being sexually expressive, which that's their
Right.
right. But you can't say you don't have a problem with that if you're a woman of faith. You can't say well, I don't care about women being sexually expressive. If you're a woman of faith, you can't be saying that because that's counterintuitive to what theology teaches. Um, now, I know that men don't have as much power as they used to have
Right.
over these 304s. We know they don't have as much power as they used to have. I get it, but I'm talking about men that are striving to do the right thing. We know it's hard to find. If
Right.
they're striving, then they should have say so over the kind of woman that they want, and not feel like they have to settle for any woman. They shouldn't have to feel like they got to settle because society told them, Jesus forgave me, so because Jesus forgave me, um, you're supposed to forgive me too and accept all my bad choices that I made, and and whatnot, and so we always want to give them an escape route. I'm not against women doing them. If that's what they want to do, they can be with a million men if they want to. The only thing I'm saying is that don't expect to be treated like the women that made good choices and had moral discipline. That's all I'm saying. If women want to swing from chandeliers and give their bodies to multiple men, that's their business. I personally don't care. But don't come in expecting to be treated like you're a virtuous woman. That's all I'm saying. Is that not fair?
That's fair, but the rebranding is, again, they'll run that. I call it the religious Hail Mary.
Right.
The game is on the line. Remember when Seattle ran that ball into the end zone when they had back in the day, not this championship, the last one,
Mm-hmm.
and it was on the 1 yard line or whatever,
Mhm.
and the clock was running out,
Mhm.
or that long pass into the end zone. That's the Hail. I call it the religious Hail Mary.
Mhm.
It's almost like they've turned the church into a Jasper Engine Rebuilding Center, where they can go in there and get their, organs rebuilt and come back out virgins, and you can't see no
He said,
two
"Get your
kids
organs
behind them.
rebuilt."
I'm saying, that spiritual
He said, "Get your organs rebuilt."
spiritual vaginal rebuilding.
Right.
All of a sudden, the vagina closes up and it forgets that two kids was pulled out of there,
Mhm.
and 30 guys have stretched her out and created a hallway, and now she's charging brand new marriage prices, and she
Right.
expects men to pay all the bills. And it's the most disrespectful.
It's very disrespectful. It's very disrespectful, but it's also very manipulative because they don't expect men to challenge it. It's a manipulation tactic.
Right.
Could some not be aware of it? Maybe.
Oh,
But
I
I,
think
but I,
that-
right. But that's why I said maybe. Maybe. But I think most know what they're doing. They know that that's not a good deal. They know that's not a deal. No woman that got a son want her son to get with a Randu woman
no.
that's demanding top value. If she's a good mom, she don't want her son to be with no Randu woman.
Right. And then they don't understand, this it's tough out here in these streets, man. They out here, and that's the part that feminism, that the sexual liberation, the sexual revolution that has really destroyed marriage, it's destroyed relationships. It's taking the incentive out of men to want to be in long-term relationships with women,
Right.
because it's like, what are you getting? I've talked about it with you before. Imagine you walking in the mall with your woman, right? And you're a professional, you're educated, you're a software engineer, whatever. And then you walking with her, that's your wife or your girlfriend, your wife.
Right.
And then across the way, the pillows or whatever, the plants and whatever, you look over there, there's a dude with gold teeth in his mouth and pants sighted on the ass. He's like has arrested development. He's like our age, and he's got the salt and pepper too.
Right.
Got the gold teeth. That's Mook Mook.
Right.
And let's say, what's your wife's name? Let's say somebody's wife's name. And he all like that, what's up with my girl? What's going on? And she turns her head to the side.
Right.
And you find out that she used to sleep with Mook Mook.
Right.
and now you're this 100% provider, and that dude made it with your wife,
Right.
and he hasn't had a job. He's been in and out of jail. It's been dusty, and you have to live with the fact that you've got mook seconds.
Right.
Like you're eating mook mook's leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how much does that destroy? That's what women don't understand. How much that destroys a man's self-esteem, a man's ego, a man's pride. That that like men want to feel like they got something special on their arms. They got something that walk around town with pride.
Yes, sir. You're right. You're correct. And it's nothing proud. It's not. But see, but that's why I said men got to start defining their own standards and stop letting these so-called relationship experts or gurus or some other man tell you how to live your life. No man gonna tell me how to live my life. I wish a man would try to tell me how to live my life. I would knock him out with one hit. And I'm talking as a man now. You get hit in your mouth. You're not even on my level to tell me how to live my life. So I don't care about your anecdotal experience. You live your life, you let me do me, but stop lying and telling these men to settle for something secondhand. It's very disrespectful, man. And I'm tired of it. Because I remember the standard. I know what men got back in the day because my daddy got it. And I know every man can't get there. I know every woman wasn't a virgin back then. And I know my anecdotal experience does not justify everybody. I understand that. Right. But I would argue that most women back in the past were either low bodies or virgins. I'm not saying women back then weren't doing sneaky stuff either. Ain't nothing new under the sun. They were getting it in back then too. But they won't get it in like they're getting it in now and not having any shame about it.
But at least there was a lower probability that you're walking with your woman that she will encounter some guy or a guy that had sex with her. Because even these women, when they switch, like some of them have to switch to a whole different zip code. They have to move. If they were a 304 in North Carolina, they're gonna have to move down to, well, forget Georgia. Take this shit all the way to the west. Let's divide the country into 3/4. If you were North Carolina in 304, you're gonna have to go even past the Midwest and go all the way to the west. Go to California or go to New Mexico or something. You have to rebrand yourself in New Mexico because all the dudes around there know you were community booty.
Right.
And now whoever the sucker, like, in small towns, America is the worst because everybody knows the Village 304. Mm-hmm. So the guy that comes in and marries the Village 304, he has to live with every day he's walking around. It's that embarrassing thing where eye contact is being made. And you know what he did with your wife. You got to live with that shit. Women don't understand how humiliating that is.
Because once again, we live in a society where, once again, we don't ask men what they want. We just think men should take bad deals. And really, they always talk about men controlling them. They're really controlling men by emotional manipulation. It's really manipulative control. They're controlling men through manipulation, man. And that's why we need to continue to have these conversations, man. That's why I like having these conversations because I'm not gonna let no cat on YouTube tell me. A lot of these cats on YouTube are fake anyway. They live behind avatars. Right. They don't even live the life they talk about. And so we're not expecting nobody to be whatever. But YouTube is entertainment.
Oh yeah.
I do entertainment. I try to be objective. I try to be fair. I am a real therapist. Nothing fake about me. I don't claim to be a perfect man. I'm striving to be perfect, but I'm not perfect. I'm striving. But it's the kind of business where you got to play the YouTube politics or, not offend women if you want to be successful, man. And I'm not here to offend women. I'm just saying it's just a matter of fact. You got to ask a man what he wants. What women did years ago. Women asked the men what they want, and the men gave the women what they want. I'm talking about good men. I'm not talking about dusty men. I'm talking about good men.
But they've got to the point where they've eliminated completely shame. I mean, you think about it. If a bird like Sprinkle ran her mouth back in the early 90s, she would literally be laughed out of town. The women would shame her, I would say. The women would call her all kinds of names. And right now, what I see now because of social media, I call it rise of the chicken heads in my mind, because somebody let them out the farm. And I see birds talking to men on platforms, and these guys are entertaining these birds and arguing with them and debating them. Back in the day, dudes wouldn't talk to chicken heads like that. They'd be like, "Shut up, chicken! Get out of here."
Mm-hmm.
They would shut down these chicken heads. But we got birds weave head women and lashes, and you can tell these women are burnt out with tremendous amount of wear and tear on them, and they're talking to men, shaming them, disrespecting them, telling them what they deserve. I saw one chicken head in the video talking about men got to pay for her daycare for the dater for some other man's kids. Imagine the audacity. I'm shocked with it. Like it's like I woke up in the Twilight Zone, man. The audacity of chicken heads. That's why I stay inside sometimes. I'll be like, I'm in disbelief because I'm out of touch with the culture. But it's like I woke up in a new dimension, a parallel dimension where masculinity was canceled. The audacity of chicken heads. I got to make a video about that because we're talking about women that would have been shunned back in the day. Now they're empowered with videos, women with platform, like a woman like Check Sexy Red back in the day. That's a flying chicken. Glorilla. Those women were at the bottom of the barrel back in the day. They're like, but this is who the culture worships, and this is what people this is what people who are talking about standards and what men should be doing. Chicken heads telling men what they should be doing. I think that's what the problem is with the culture. Man.
Right. They're telling men how to be men.
Yeah,
and that's a fundamental flaw. Yeah, I got about 5 minutes. I got to run, man.
Well, we got to get out of here anyhow. We got to get some support for this channel, man. Guys, you have the Coach Condition here. You want these streams to come through, we got to have to get some support to the channel. Let me put the Coach's cash up. We're going to get out of here in a little bit.
Yeah, I got another good show coming up, man. I might even bring you on that one. I'm trying to, I'm gonna repackage it, but I do this because I want to see men do well. And Peaceful Life, you and I talk about it all the time. We're content creators, we're male content creators, and I don't know if you got the guys that are listening. If you like male content, support it, man. It's it takes a lot of time to do these shows, to put it together. We do it for the brothers. People always say y'all is doing it to make money. Yes, we're doing YouTube to make money and also empower men. We're just not doing it. No man gonna put 2 hours of his time on the line just to talk for the sake of talking. You do it with the incentive to be incentivized. We're doing it because we want to help brothers, yes, but we're also doing it because we want to make money. I mean, I don't. I hope any man would do that if he's taking his time. Go ahead, brother.
I mean, if we really wanted to. If you really want to make money on YouTube, you just got to create a panda bear in China. You got to practice your panda bear technique, Kosher. You got to get in there and start. You first got to find yourself 400-pound women in the background. And you sit there, you give them your best Kosher spiel about how you love big women and how men should be paying 100% of bills, and how you don't call her, you cash app her, send her some money. I can't. Who did that thing one time? Average Man did that thing with the panda bear. What is it? He did that thing with the guy pretended to be a panda bear, how the yada and them be sounding. You make a lot of money as a panda bear. You know what I mean? Like that's like you'd be like selling, but you got. Sleeping at night would be hard, but having me a peaceful life. It's having me running down the beach with two big backs. Tongue kissing big backs and saying, "You guys, if she ain't 350, you don't holding her by her neck and shit. The breeze blowing through her hair. She ain't got no neck." All that shit. Be on the beach and shit. But that's how you make money on YouTube if you're really trying to. You're not trying to help anybody. Be all in some different shit. But anyhow, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. We're gonna get out of here for the day.
Yeah. We're gonna. I'll chop it up with you on the back end, man. I'm gonna call you once we get off. Man.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Peace and blessings. All
right. Be good, brother.
Hey, salute to you, bro. Appreciate, man. Appreciate. Yeah, but hey, salute to the Kosher Conditioner. Guys, make sure you subscribe to his channel. Let me get the link here. Where we at? The Kosher Condition. Make sure I show some respect to the brother for giving the time. Again, if you guys want to get some diagnostic consultation, he's the man to call. Let me see. me add his link. Yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to the Kosher Conditions channel. And if you want to support him, make sure you hit the Cash App. Support his channel. $7 Spalls. Make sure you guys support the brother for coming on. Again, that's a professional therapist. To talk to him or to have time, spend time, or have him give his opinion. You book a consultation is $200+ or whatever to even have a conversation or a consultation with a professional. So at the end of the day, men's content is a part of his part of the passion, and we got to support the content to keep the movement going. And one of the things is waking guys up to the realities of the culture, the situation. And again, it's a global situation too. And it's a problem that we see in society. It's an issue that is not going away unless now we have even worse because we're dealing with simp fishing. And that's a huge problem in the society. But anyhow, I'm gonna get out of here today. Appreciate you guys joining me. Make sure you guys hit the like button.